the Hall of Fame, and it is presented to an individual or individuals who've made a significant ongoing contribution to Albury-Wodonga's business landscape and the general community at large. The recipient will have operated a business within Albury-Wodonga for at least 20 years, but may not necessarily be still active in the business. They're seen as a leader and innovator in their industry sector, and have also made a valuable contribution to the general communities of Albury-Wodonga. The Board of Mail is the sponsor of the Hall of Fame, and to present the award this evening, I'd like to welcome Chris Clark to the screen to announce the latest induction into the Hall of Fame.
Good evening, my name is Chris Clark, I'm the Media Sales Manager with the Board of Mail. It has been our honour to be associated with the Business Chamber Awards for some time now as the sponsor of the Hall of Fame Award. Tonight's recipient, Steve Bowen, is a very worthy winner, and Steve should be very proud of everything that you achieved personally, and you should be just as proud as one of the business community. Congratulations, mate. It's really well done.
I do believe there's a special video presentation on our Hall of Fame recipient as he makes his way, or maybe you should sit and enjoy it. I hope it's scheduled ready to go, because I do know there's been a bit of work put into this, so fingers crossed it's ready to go. Professional as ever, cool in a crisis, perfect recipient for the Hall of Fame. Steve Bowen, congratulations. Please step forward to say a few words. Thank you.
Wow. Well, I didn't think I was old enough to be Hall of Fame, but I'll take that. Thank you. What a humbling experience. I've been in Albury-Wodonga pretty much all my life, and went to school here, primary school, high school. I remember the first time when I got my first job at the Lavender Sports Club as the DJ, and I walked up, and they told me that the disco starts at 9 o'clock, so I got up there at 8:30, but they didn't tell me that the door was open at 8 o'clock. So I went up, and there was this cranky lady on the front, on the like in the door, and her name was Petra. Anyway, so she said, "Where have you been? You're late!" And I thought, what a cranky bitch. So anyway, we've been married 31 years, so good. G'day, Petra. So this is, I was actually just commenting to Petra about, and this is the first time we've been out together, having dinner together in this place since 2007, in a formal occasion, and so that was a pretty special night as well, when I was on with raising a few dollars and winning a couple of awards there, and that was pretty cool. And then it just goes back, I was talking to Tracy when she gave me the news about this, and it was pretty overwhelming, and even Tracy didn't realise, I don't think the records go back as far as that, but I think we won a business award in 1996 and 1997 for Bowen's Entertainment back then. And being just sort of a local person, my work has taken me to the USA. I was guest speaker at the national conference over there in Chicago a couple of years ago. I emceed and DJ'd a wedding over there 2 years ago. The UK, I did a wedding in the UK as well, and some functions in Thailand. And last year I was due to do 2 weddings in Bali, but unfortunately the COVID hit and we haven't been able to go. So for me, it's a pretty humbling experience. I've employed over 70 DJs in the 30 plus years that I've been running the business, and I've had probably at least 20. I take on work experience kids from school, and they think they're going to come and learn about music, and I try and teach them a bit about life. And when they work late until 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I tell them that they've got to start at 6 or 7 the next day, I'm just trying to give them some real life experiences. So it's pretty cool. So don't know what else to say, but thank you very much. I'm very honoured. I love this community, and I'm going to keep ploughing into it as much as I can. So thank you.
When you come back tomorrow, come dressed for success. And came in a green suit with $100 bills pinned all over it.
Have you saw this man and you think, what's this clown doing? But when you meet him, you find out that he's not a clown. He has so much heart and passion in what he does for the people around him. That man has trained me to be a better man.
Stephen Craig Bowen. I was going to be called Andy if I was a girl.
Such a simple story. You know, you throw a boomerang out with bad energy, or you're rough or angry with somebody, that's eventually going to come back and get you.
And in my experience, what I've thrown out is what comes back. So if I'm throwing out negative energy, it's all about taking responsibility for yourself of what you're getting back. So if you don't like what you're getting back, have a look at what you're throwing out and take responsibility for it, rather than blame it on somebody else and go, well, that's their problem and there's nothing I can do about it. There's absolutely everything you can do about it.
We did the Year 6s at Scott School for 15 years, the jigsaw program.
My part in the whole program was that I shared my story, you know, my loss, and I was so emotional at so many times. The kids are crying, the fever would just come over, and he put his hand on my back and stayed with me till I finished.
He has so much passion for the people that he's surrounded by to make sure they get what he's putting out, and he puts out love, and he puts out emotion, and he puts out fun and positivity.
So my Big Boomerang Theory presentation is basically about being a 10-year-old paper boy and being, let's say, a little bugger, hyperactive, and for me, learning that I don't need to do that. 25 years later, finding the people I work for at the paper shop, let me their gold Mercedes Benz to look after, is a pretty cool boomerang.
He's like Pac-Man, you know, wants to just bite up everything and make it grow, and then take it and use it and make other people grow.
Which is an organisation formed to support kids with cancer and their families, also raising thousands of dollars to build a house in Albury to auction off to support this organisation. He is on the board of the AWBA Industries. He MCs our local special children's Christmas party, is our Mother's Classic 5K run, 20K Sunshine Walk. He is a volunteer firefighter, helping to protect our community. When the call is there, he rolls up his sleeves, jumps in the truck. What Steve does for our community is beyond words.
Well, you're not using any of the runs,
If Steve was here and he'd come up with his arm on my shoulder.
Everybody who's successful comes from somewhere. And it doesn't matter where you're from, it just matters how you think. And it's an attitude, and attitudes are contagious, and I often say, is yours worth catching?
Steve Bowen. They said you like yak, but I reckon you're probably a bit speechless about now. Yeah, that was pretty special, and I know you'd be pretty touched by seeing your mentors there, and they were the star of that show. And I said to you earlier, I said, I want to meet these people. They sound amazing, and now you've given me a glimpse into their world. I can see, we're so close to them. And you never like to give credit for what you do, and I have to prize it out of him sometimes. Like, you've done so much. The country, you helped with that house back in the day. I remember that. So to hear it boomeranged back at you, how do you like that?
So once again, what you throw out is what comes back, and sometimes it doesn't come back from the person you throw it out to. You don't throw it out to get it back. You throw it out because it's the right thing to do. But Errol and Noah Davis were there. We used to do a jigsaw program, and the idea of the jigsaw program was to empower youth, because their neural pathways aren't stuck yet. Often with older people, you find that you'll do a motivation session with them and they'll go be revved right up, and it's not until the next day that they start to sort of go back to their natural neural pathways and go back to their old ways. And so the idea was to focus on youth and to make our next generation become better people, become more resilient, stop people from leaving this world earlier than they should by their own hand as well. So the jigsaw program was an amazing thing that I did with Errol and Noah, and they're now retired. They're 20 years my senior, and Errol just last year came and gave me all the information. He's an accelerated learning master, and I've learned a lot from those two people. And as my mentors and great friends, I always looked up to them, and it's interesting though that they always said that they did the same to me. It took me a long time to feel like I was actually on an equal par with them, but I'm slowly getting that. And Errol presented everything he'd learned over the last 30 years on accelerated learning to me as a gift to keep that legacy going, to continue to empower youth and make sure that they get the best out of their lives.
So tell us about the paper run days back as a youngster. There's a story there, I'm sure.
So I was a little bugger as a child. I was hyperactive, and it's hard to imagine. I think it's got letters attached to it, but when I was born, they weren't invented. So I think they call it ADH something. But like I said, so hyperactive. So I'd get up at 4:30 every morning and annoy my parents by playing the radio or the stereo, and I'd jump around to either AC/DC or Michael Jackson in the lounge room at 4:30, dancing away, to which they weren't impressed. So my mother went to, I was 9.5 years of age too. My mother went to the Berks News Agency and asked Mr. Berg if he had a job as a paper boy. And Mr. Berg was a gruff old bugger, and he went, "Oh, you're always looking for good paper boys, yeah, no problem at all." And he said, "Cool, can you get up early?" My mum said, "Yeah, 4:30 every morning." And he said, "Oh, that's great, okay, we'll send him in. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Bowen, how old is he?" "Well, he's 9.5. And Mr. Berg, just to get rid of my mum, said, "Oh, we couldn't possibly put anyone on until they're at least 10. And the difference is when you're young, what you hear to what's said is always different. If anyone's in a relationship, you'll understand that. So anyway, what happened was my mum came back and said, "Oh, I thought about it. I thought it'd be good to be a paper boy." So I said, "Mum, how did you go with the paper job?" She said, "Oh, Mr. Berg said that you couldn't get a job until you're at least 10. But what I heard was, Steve, on your 10th birthday, you're going to have a job as a paper boy." So on my 10th birthday, I woke up, I was that excited, I got up an hour earlier, 3:30. So I played the stereo for an hour, danced around the lounge room, and I went up, and unbeknownst to Mr. Berg, went there bright-eyed, bushy-tailed at 4:30 in the morning and asked him for a job as a paper boy. he didn't want to send me home because he didn't have anyone working for him under 14 and 15-year-olds don't get up very early. So I worked there for 5 years and six days a week for 5 years. And they were, I had breakfast with them every morning from my youth. And I left that job and for something, I'll cut the story down. I'll probably finish by August. But basically, I caught up with the Burks every now and then over the past 25 years, and but I didn't sort of think much of it. When you're younger, you just take it for granted. And anyway, I got a call one day, and Mrs. Burke answered the phone, and she said Mr. Burke had passed away. And I was pretty shattered, even though I sort of didn't see them much, maybe once a year. And I went to the funeral, and I didn't sort of take much notice of what Mr. Burke or Mrs. Burke really had or did or whatever the case may be. And anyway, she gave me a huge hug and said, after the funeral, she said, "Can I see you in a couple of weeks?" I said, "Sure." So anyway, I went to see her. I said, "How can I help you?" And she said, "You know that beautiful gold Mercedes Benz that you always loved, and Mr. Burke loved?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Have you still got that?" And she said, "Oh yeah, we've got that." She said, "I'd like you to look after it for him." So 25 years later, I've got Mr. Burke's gold Mercedes Benz that and that's what I go and speak to youth about. You just don't know who and how much it affects you. And sometimes things come back. And so if you throw enough negative boomerangs, you'll get that back too. So just recently, I'm not one to speak publicly about some of the things that I do personally. I recently went overseas with my son to Chicago. I took him with me when I was guest speaker at a national DJ conference, and he was getting a tattoo, and he said, "Dad, do you want to get a tattoo?" I said, No way. I was watching him, and it took 6 hours for his tattoo. Anyway, I got a tattoo on a boomerang on my arm, and just to remind me every day what you throw out, make sure you throw the boomerangs.
Your journey, your lessons, your passion, your energy, translating some of that into the business world. Have you got some advice for others? I mean, you've had such a terrific career, as well as your philanthropic side as well. What have you learned along the way to be so successful such a long period of time?
I think the key is authenticity. Just being authentic, just being yourself. People know that, when they see me, that it's going to be, "G'day, how you going? I'm going good, great, feeling great," that sort of thing, because I believe it, I own it. You've got to walk the walk, you can't just do the talk. So I learned that a long time ago. I've got a lot of sayings, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I've got a lot of other things, so you've got to, fake it till you make it. And lots of things to make sure you get there. But being consistent is also the key, and having a fantastic family to support you is incredible. Thank you, Petra. I missed a lot of my kids growing up, so I'm making sure I had my 3 grandsons today. Looked after them all day. Man, they are energetic.
The universe is great like that.
It's a boomerang coming back together. But so I missed a lot of my children growing up from working every weekend pretty much for the last, this is my 37th year of doing entertainment. So I'm really, it's about living in the moment and being right here, being present, and living in the now.
And I think Tracy's out and about with the microphone. I don't know if anyone in the crowd had a question to ask. So while we're waiting for that, I can't really tell because of the lights. But I have a great story with you, Steve. I spent a bit of time working in Melbourne, and I had a stint at the AFL Players Association, and I was their media and communications manager, and they just started to create the Most Valuable Player Awards night, and I had to all of a sudden organise the invitations, what the banners were going to look like, the signage, the entertainment. Country girl doesn't really know a lot of city entertainers. And I mean, bloody hell, Steve Bowen, he'd be amazing here. They love him. Don't know the sprinkler dance, I don't think they'd come across that before. The AFL players, we're talking the Wayne Careys
handle a number of those blokes.
Talk us through
They
that
were
experience.
fascinated. They were fascinated. Why someone from Albury would come up to entertain them. And the AFL MVP award, so they all sit on their own tables, pretty much, and so they all keep the groups themselves. And so when it came to the after party, I was engaged to entertain them, and they'd all stay in their own little sections, you know. And so I went, like I often don't DJ from behind my console, and so I went out and got a few people and got them involved and got them up to do some things and interacted with them in the way that I like to do. And before they knew it, they were all sort of dancing to songs that they would never have thought they would have danced to. And I think that we made an impression.
I loved it. The country kids took over that day. It was hilarious. So that's just my own experience. We've got a question just from the commercial club. What's next, and where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
Still putting into the community, making sure I can be, just a part of it. I want to just dive in and do as much as I can to help Albury and Wodonga. I just love this region, and we are really from an amazing region. So for me, I've scaled my business back a lot. I used to have 20 employees at one stage, all DJs travelling around the countryside. I've got 2 that work for me now. And it's funny, it's interesting though, you think you're going to take over the world, and I'm starting to work a lot smarter. It's taken a while, and I'm keeping as much profit as I did when I had 20 as I do when I have 2, and I've got a lot more time on my hands to do other things as well too. So, So I'm not a politician, but we'll see what we can do going forward to just making this region even better than it already is.
Well done. Has anyone got a question? If not, we could sit here and talk for hours for sure. Oh, I'm ignoring the man in the front row. Anyone else? Anyone else? No, Kev Polton has known Steve for many, many years, so it'd be appropriate, Kev, for you to definitely ask a question or pass on a comment.
Now, Steve knows that I know the answer to this one, but the left-hand handshake.
Yep.
Can you explain to anybody else that doesn't understand it?
Absolutely.
The reasoning and what have you.
So people think that I'm not a traditionalist, but I very much am, and I like to do things certain ways. And so the tradition in Australia is that you do a handshake. The difference that I like to make my own twist about traditions is that I shake left-handed, and I've done so for 25 years because I love getting inside people's heads. I love the theory of understanding how and why we do different things. So I use people as my little laboratory over the last 25 years or so. So I shake left-handed because God created a few miracles and then he created right-handers.
Ooh, these fighting words.
Just to create a great opening, it's just like a little. Everyone does like a quick little opening when they do either a speech or things of that nature. Obviously, some of my coloured suits are part of that opening as well too. It's just it's about being me. I'm not trying to do anyone else. I'm really good at being me, and that's all I have to worry about. I used to think I had to be like others, and I've learned as I get a little bit older, and it's okay just to be yourself.
Anyone else, folks? Like I said, we could sit here forever. We do have some more awards, so very powerful stuff, Steve Bowen. We're all mighty proud of you. We have all, everyone's grown up with you or been associated with you in some way, shape or form. A very worthy recipient, I'd say, of the Hall of Fame. So congratulations on your induction and the incredible contribution you've made not only to the business world but to the Albury, Wodonga and surrounds over many, many years.
Thank you. I just want to thank my family very much. Means a lot. Thank you.